Elevation Nation. We oftentimes say that we are a family or a nation here, but we legit have family coming on the podcast today. You may remember our episode with our dear friend AJ Eckstein, the founder of The Final Round. Well, we are lucky enough to have his incredible sister and roommate, I might add, who is an entrepreneur, fitness guru, influencer, content creator, and works a full-time job as well. Emily, welcome to Elevation Nation. I feel like we know you already. Your brother talked to you about you to us like months ago, and now we're finally here. So thank you for joining us.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you guys so much. And AJ spoke so highly of you both. And I know, I feel like we're family, right? You guys have to come visit me in Austin. And thanks for the amazing introduction. But it is such a privilege to be on your pod today.
I'm so pumped. I think one of the coolest things about Elevation Nation and having a podcast, Emily, is is just meeting really awesome people. And I know you're all the way across, so you're far away from where Sam and I are located, but it was really cool when AJ came to New York and we were just like, all right, let's go on a run. And we had never met before, but we met on our podcast. And now, obviously we're having a conversation with you. But I was doing some research. I was looking on Instagram, LinkedIn, going back in your history. And I got to ask, Ultimate Tag, that I've seen it in TikTok. Explain that to me. What was that experience like?
Yeah. So, and also before we go into that, I also just want to say we could touch upon this later, but I love that we all live such similar lifestyles of the grind, So it was before this podcast, we're all we worked a full-time job all day. We're all okay, energy. We're back on fire now. So I just want to say I love the grind. And we can go into that later, but before I forget, but yes, Ultimate Tag. So this was a couple years back and it's a great story. So I am not an actress. I'm just a fitness professional over here but I'm very well connected with just people in the fitness industry. And long story short, I got a call from my friend Lauren, and I thought it was a prank call. And it ended up being the producer for a show for Fox. And I thought it was a prank call. And I called my friend Lauren. I was like, why are you prank calling me? And she was like, what? I'm not prank calling you. Anyway, find out it's legit and it's a producer, and a friend of a friend recommended me. And long story short, we have this whole entire interview process. I got more details about what it was about. The audition was actually in person of someone chasing you at a parkour gym. There was also a Zoom audition. There were so many auditions, and it was just crazy because this opportunity came out of nowhere. And what Ultimate Tag is, so it was a show on Fox. It was hosted by the Watt brothers. So JJ Watt, Derek, and TJ Watt. And we filmed it at Warner Brothers. And this was my senior year of high school. So let's just say that a lot of times I missed class to go film for the show and made up some great excuses. But yeah, it was such an amazing experience. We filmed for a couple months. And again, being on the show, I was the youngest female on the show, and also stepping in to the whole cast members. These people were jacked. They can beat you up with a pinky. And then there's me, and I'm just I'm a fitness guru, but I can't beat you up with a pinky over here. So it was definitely an intimidating environment. And I think that, definitely translates to the whole mindset aspect of putting yourself in uncomfortable situations to get out of your comfort zone. But yeah, it was an incredible experience.
It's wild. I mean, I'm yet to be on a TV show, but if any casting directors are out there listening,
I know, right?
I know we would love, I'll play tag, I'll play laser tag, I will do whatever. We'll have a great time. And Emily, it's so cool that you did that at such a young age, because I think going outside of your comfort zone probably helped shape all the amazing things that you are now doing in the real world. Let's kind of talk about that. I know we skipped right into tag, but let's tell the people a little bit about what you do and some of the brands that you run in your outside of normal work job that we talked about.
Yeah, definitely. And before I do, just want to say I also broke my foot on the show. I
Right.
slammed into a wall and broke it, and it's a really funny video. It's on my Instagram, and it's like a slow motion, and JJ Watt's like, "Oh," it's pretty funny. But yeah, definitely worth a broken foot. But yeah, it was fun. It was a great experience, and a little bit about me and kind of what I do. So. I have a full-time job. I work in fitness software and technology and sales and partnerships. And on the side, I have Fit Food Junkies. So I have my own podcast called Fit Food Junkies, and I'm also a group fitness instructor. I have a few of my personal clients, but mostly group. I teach at Equinox and some other studios. So I teach a little bit of everything: cycling, athletic conditioning, Pilates bar. And I love it so much. And honestly, my mission is it's like all about mindset. So if I can motivate a person that doesn't have the inspiration to move their body one day or get someone a little bit healthier or really big about mental health, like I think fitness has saved me in so many ways of like really hard times that I've gone through in my life. So if I can share a little bit of that inspiration with people, whether it's on Instagram, on my podcast, or in person when I teach, it's all worth it.
I always wonder like what it was like a few years ago when COVID like shut down the world for people like yourself, like people where gyms were closing. You know, for me, I put on a shit ton of weight, honestly, and it was not good for me physically. Yeah, exactly. But like
We
for
all
you,
did.
I mean, it's something you do for your job as well. Like what was that moment like for you? I mean, as a young adult too, you're trying to pay the bills. This is what you always wanted to do. How did you spend that time?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. It was a really hard time. And I think honestly, like it was a really depressing time for so many of us, right? Actually, Ultimate Tag that year, it came out on Fox, and like I was gonna have this huge watch party with a bunch of friends. I was able to luckily have a few friends over for the watch party, but you know, like times were so different. It's not like I could make it as big. And then in terms of kind of like the group exercise aspect, I mean, to me, that's everything is like being in person and motivating and being in a group setting. So losing that is like a little bit of like a loss of identity, you know? So I was trying to figure out other ways to replace that. I started to do a lot of live Zoom workouts and things like that to get people together. But I think it's really important to like also be very open that I could talk all about during that time on Instagram of like motivating people and telling people to get up and move their bodies. But like I too was having a really hard time. And I think that was a really difficult time for everyone. So I'm not going to be like, it was great. You know, like I was able to be motivated every single day. Like I think a lot of people ask me all the time, like, how do I stay so motivated? And whether it's during the hard times like COVID, where you were indoors, or even like a day when you have no energy, I think both translate heavily where you're not always going to be motivated. You're not going to always want to push yourself. But you're the only person that's going to be able to do that for yourself. So it's kind of just figuring out that like underlying piece of what's going to get you going in life. And that can translate in any aspect, any day.
I think fitness is such an important part of my life personally, and can be with so many people's. And it's funny. I mean, Emily, obviously you do this professionally, but I think to some of my friends that maybe, and Parker was one of them. Parker used to work out after work all the time. And I'm like, before work, I do it as my like wake up call. Like if I don't do it, my brain doesn't function properly and I'm lethargic throughout the day. And so I was trying to get Parker at one point to start working out in the morning, because we're all like you said, grinding, right? We're working 9-to-5 jobs, honestly, a lot more than 9 to 5. And you need that thing to kind of wake you up. How do you try to motivate people to see like fitness is not something that's like just to lose weight and stay healthy or a punishment, but to me, like I work out because it makes me feel good. How do you get that feeling to other people?
Yeah, that's such a good question, because fitness is different. It's not a one size fits all approach. I might love running, and you might think that you have to run to get in shape, but that's not true. I think everyone needs to find their own little piece of fitness that makes them happy and makes them feel good. again, not saying you're always going to look forward to that workout, but it's kind of, I think it's really important, one, to figure out what form of moving your body makes you feel good. Like AJ, my brother, for example, when he plays basketball, like that's when he's like back in his zone, in his element, you know, like for me, that's going to either be running or dancing, where I'm like, I need to get stressed out. Like I need to be in my happy place kind of thing. Maybe for other people, it's just like getting outside and walking. So I think number one, it's really important to find any form of moving your body that you're able to clear your head without having to like use technology. I mean, sure, sometimes music, but like any kind, whether it's even just getting outdoors and walking, I think it's really important. Because on the mental health side of things, like it's just, if people don't think about it, I always call it the after effect. But once you do it and push yourself to move your body, you feel like a new person. And I also think on the motivational side of things, it has to become a form of life. Like I think you have to kind of dig a little deep and ask yourself your why. I think if you just work out to look good physically, you're not going to get there. I think you have to find an underlying aspect of your why on the mental health side. Like, you know, are you stressed today? Like go burn it off and go for a quick run or go outside for a walk, whatever it may be, go lift, go take a dance class. But I think figuring out your why, and like, there's so many people now have anxiety, they're depressed, like especially in our age group, and they're just going to like alcohol, drugs, sleeping all day, like whatever it may be, and they're really depressed. And mental health right now, like there's at such alarming rates where people are having really difficult times. So that's why I love to think of fitness, that it's not just physically, but it's mentally. So if people found that motivation in it to move their body and like on the mental side of things, it's going to really push them a little bit more to get out.
I always looked at fitness as like a chore for a long, long time. I mean, up until a few years ago. And then, which was actually pretty interesting, is I joined like one of the nicer gyms in the area. So I joined an Equinox in DC, and now I go to a Lifetime. And what's nice about those, and yes, it's pricey, they have nice equipment, but they also have like the sauna, the steam, and I can spend more time there. I can do work there. And it's like, when I go there, it's not just going to the gym. I'm going to steam. I'm going to socialize with people. And it's almost become part of my day. Like it is part of my day. It's part of like the way I live, is I go there, and it's an experience beyond just like going to work out. Like I'm interacting with other people who are similar to me. I go and be healthy, you know, in the sauna 20 minutes a day, get a nice shower in, all that type of stuff. And that has helped me tremendously, like so much. Now I enjoy every moment of that when I go. And it's funny, Emily, I got to ask you this, because we were talking about this on our podcast earlier today. I've gone to the gym, and there's all these damn people. I run a lot. I don't like running in the freezing cold. There's 30 treadmills in my gym, and I couldn't get on a treadmill. Packed, right? Beginning of the year, everyone's New Year's resolutions, everything. Of those 30 people on the treadmill, I'm pretty sure like 28 of them were just walking. So I'm curious. I was pretty pissed off about them. I was like,
Parker's fitness shaming, Emily, in case you're wondering.
Least,
and I,
you know, like, okay,
went into him
walkers,
earlier.
I get it. But like every single person's walking. I'm like, I thought treadmills were for running. What's up with that?
It's called TikTok. There's so it's actually really, and I bet the majority of them
honestly,
female,
but yeah, majority
that were
female.
walking.
I would say like 60-40.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know if you've heard of 12-3-30. It's like this viral thing that went on TikTok. Sam's like, yeah, I heard of it. Yeah, so a lot of people are doing that. Walking is I don't want to say easiest, but sure, the easiest way and start to lose weight. Because essentially, especially for females, you have to think men don't have to worry about this as much, and females have to focus on balancing their hormones and also making sure their cortisol is not as high. Cortisol is your stress hormone. So what happens a lot, this actually happened to me in the past, is I was over exercising. So every day I was doing like really intense, insane workouts. And then I actually noticed the opposite effect, that I was gaining weight. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? Like, I'm working 210% every day. Again, maybe another female, like, it might work out great for them. For me, that's not how it worked. And I've heard this issue a lot with a lot of other females, where your cortisol can get really high, and that does the opposite effect. So I'm not saying not to do the HIIT workouts, but I say that if you are having the issue like that, a lot of times females find it really great to be able to incorporate an incline walk similar to 12-3-30, which means 12 incline. You're at 3 miles per hour and you're going for 30 minutes. Sometimes I just do it for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It doesn't matter. Or any incline that feels good to you, but it's just a really great way to lose weight because you're actually more in your fat burning. And your cortisol doesn't get as high. So it's just a really, really great way to lose weight, to incorporate in your workouts. Again, not saying the HIIT and intense workouts aren't amazing, because I love that too, but it's all about balance.
I'm not being an asshole, but like,
yeah,
it's
Parker, so stop being an asshole.
Every single
Everyone can do what works for them.
Taken up. But what's the
Go
thing?
run outside. Stop being so soft.
I'm trying to run. I get it.
But it's like it's like this. You run on it and it moves. It's a little different.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, it's like you're
different.
pushing.
That one's
it.
hard.
You can do that
one's hard because you can add resistance to it. Yeah.
That one's difficult. And like, I love that one too, because if you're going hard, it's so loud. I feel like the whole gym just hears you
and huffing
sprinting.
and puffing.
You're like, hell yeah, I'm working. I know, right? It's so funny.
I think, Emily, the core lesson that I'm taking away from all this is everyone has their own fitness journey, and they kind of have to, through trial and error a little bit, figure out what works from them. And it's funny, like Parker's talking about his Equinox and lifetime experience. He's like, I go and I do all these things and I have to get there and go there, and it's an experience. Where when I lived in New York, my gym was 3/4 of a mile away, which when I bought the membership did not seem very far. And it isn't very far. But when it's like raining and still dark out because you have to go before work in the morning, like that 3/4 of a mile really sucks to jog to. And I had to learn that the hard way because there's no gym in my building back then. And so it made me, when I was at my lowest point in New York, I hated my job, I hated New York, I was depressed. It made going to the gym so difficult, which was the one thing that would bring me mental health. And so it's funny, like Parker, I have the opposite feeling when it comes to a gym. Now that my gym's upstairs, like I am so much happier, and I love that I go up there and I don't have to talk to anyone. There's nothing that fancy. I can just go in, get my workout in. In fact, it's actually probably bad because I haven't left my entire apartment building today or yesterday, but that's okay. We're figuring it out, and that's my fitness journey.
Yeah, I think you create your own experience, right? Like today, for example, like when I went running, like I honestly, like I've been so stressed this week. This week with work was just crazy. And like I ran to like burn off my stress, and I created my own experience. You know, maybe that's just me by myself. Maybe it's like what Parker said, going to a gym and being around other people who are motivated. So I think there's so many different experiences you can create, and it doesn't always have to be the same, but you have to find kind of what lights you up.
Besides
and what
that
fuels you.
TikTok trend that's pissing me off indirectly because of these people, what are some trends in 2023 that you're coaching like your clients on, or maybe some things that you're seeing come, into the mainstream in fitness?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think a big thing is, again, for every person's body type, every person's different genetically, like it's not a one size fits all, right? Like we've said, I think weights is a big thing, and for obviously both men and women. And I think it just depends. Like sometimes men, of course, like lift heavy, and then women, it just depends. Like some people lifting heavy weights like works amazing for them. Other times, like for females, it's better to do more like light to medium and higher reps. And I know a lot of people are going to kind of like be like at me for that, because there's like this whole thing on social media that's like, women can't get big from like lifting heavy weights. And like, of course, like that's true, you know, and I love lifting weights and all that. But that being said, especially working with so many clients, like people change differently on a physical level. And I think you really have to do what works for your body and like what you feel works best, because it's going to look different on everyone and it's going to feel different on everyone. But I think the mental side of lifting, whether it's, you know, a 5-pound dumbbell or heavy weights, I mean, the feeling of like really feeling strong and how it translates to your mind is such a cool feeling. And then also Pilates has gotten super big. I love Pilates. I think the biggest thing is your core. And that's what I love so much about Pilates, and I teach it. And I think, I love when guys take my Pilates class because there's not many of them. And I'm like, these guys are smart because it's all girls in my classes for Pilates. But, I don't think enough people think about their core. I say going into like this year, if you had one thing that you're going to focus on is your core. And what I mean by that is not just doing sit-ups and not ending with your 5-minute abs. I mean engaging it in everything you do. Not only is that going to make you obviously more ripped, but you're going to actually in the future, like let's say you fall, for example, your core is the foundation for everything. It's going to prevent you from injury, with your posture, with so many things in life. So even just walking, like if you're going on a walk, so many times people stick their booties out, they stick their chests out, bellies out. Like by bringing in your core, I always say pretend like I'm poking you in the belly button, or pretend like I'm a boxer giving you like a little hit in the gut, and how you would contract. Obviously breathe, but it's not sucking in. It's more contracting your core. And once that becomes like a form of life almost, where you don't think about it, you're always going to be engaging your core. That means walking, running, lifting, especially like if you're lifting squats. So many times I'm like literally biting my tongue because I want to correct people at the gym so many times where see them lifting heavy and they're using their lower back and you're going to pull something, you know? So it's like, if you engage your core in squats, I've talked to these ripped like 10-pack people and I'm like, how do you get your core? And they're like, I don't even do core workouts. Like I literally just engage my core in everything I do. And of course, like, a lot of that comes in the kitchen too, with what you eat, but engaging your core, even walking, it's like the secret to success.
Is that
I just
engaging
flexed.
your core is just like
Right now.
is that what you're talking about, or is it like
it's in more like flexing your abs, yes, but like breathing almost. So it's kind of like always having them engaged. Even like when I have a stand-up desk. So like anytime I'm standing up at work, like I'll try to do that a little bit and play around with it, because a lot of people don't really get what I mean by it. And I think it takes a lot of time to feel what that feels like to you. But even when you're walking next time, try to bring your belly button in a little bit, like kind of give yourself a little punch in the gut and feel when you feel like your abs kind of pop in and you're like, okay, like I feel like I'm engaging it more. Same when you're running. And you'll feel that you're actually, you know, you're working your core all day if you're doing that.
Emily, you mentioned food, which
Yes.
is the second half of your company and your brand, and something I'm super passionate about. So I want to make sure we have some time to talk about food. How did that become part of your fitness journey? Obviously, we know that it's a big part about staying healthy, but there are a lot of fitness influencers out there that just focus on the fitness side, and like that's what they do. How did you incorporate both, and how did you end up learning so much about like nutrition and food and making good food? Like I've seen you and your brother eat. You guys eat dope food.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So something that I love about my family in general is like my family, we eat a lot. Like if you come on vacation with us or come home to us, like we eat a lot.
It's funny you said that because I just texted your brother asking when I could come on family vacation with you guys because your trips look sick. So I'm glad I got the invite from both of you now. Thank you.
Come anytime. I love it. Seriously, you guys have to come visit us. But yeah, so I love that, like, even my cousins, Mexican, Jewish, it's like the Italian vibe where we eat a lot. Okay. However, my family's super healthy. So like we eat a lot, we live life, but we work out, we live a healthy diet. I was raised to eat really healthy. So I think, a lot of it's like how I was raised, but that doesn't mean if you weren't raised like that you can't change your eating habits. I think the real reason why I got in so much into nutrition is first, my major in college was health promotion and disease prevention. I took a lot of nutrition courses and also focused on kinesiology and all that as well. But and then now I'm actually studying to get my health coach certification, which is really exciting, going more into depth about everything. But the reason I got so intrigued by nutrition is because I grew up once I got in the fitness industry, I had a really unhealthy relationship with food, which a lot of people do that are in the fitness industry. And I also had some allergies and there were just food made me feel different
what do you mean by
ways,
unhealthy
and like we all know that one food,
like you're eating like Burger King every day, or the complete opposite where you're like weighing everything, getting very particular about things?
The latter. So I never weighed, but I was counting my calories. I was counting my macros. The second I got into it, when I first got into it, I was working with the trainer for Alexis Ren. And it's just such a toxic environment of the trainer, how she was telling me about how she measures her clients and how she makes them track everything. And and again, that's not to each his own. Sometimes that works best for people to track. For me though, it got into a really unhealthy relationship with food where I felt like I was counting everything. I wasn't living my life. I wasn't enjoying the foods because I felt guilt if I didn't meet my macros or if I went over the calories. And I actually did the opposite. I ended up not even meeting any of my goals physically and actually even gaining weight because you end up having this whole guilt about your food. A lot of times can lead into binging as well. Actually, I can't even tell you how many clients that have come to me with binge eating disorders because social media, so many people having unhealthy relationships with food, whether it's an eating disorder or counting kind of thing. So it's really sad because I think it's not really talked about. And I think so many people go through it. So I think it's really important to open up the conversation. And I also, again, not saying you shouldn't track if that's what works for you, but I will never tell my clients to weigh themselves. I'll never tell them to measure themselves. I'll never tell them to track their food. I think it has to be a holistic fashion of how you feel on the inside out. And I also think what foods make you feel good. There are certain foods that might be healthy, coin healthy, but might not be healthy for you. So I think it's just
important. You mean the
important.
entire bag of frozen mangoes from Trader Joe's that I eat every weekend could potentially not be healthy?
Dude,
the 8 servings that I consume in one night.
I'm talking about frozen cookie dough that we throw in the oven and just take down an entire batch.
Well, that's unhealthy, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, can I have some? That sounds amazing. What about those chocolate
I have a whole
covered
box
bananas
in the freezer right now.
from Trader Joe's? I just use the whole box. So do I.
I used to go to town. My roommate Benny used to buy dark chocolate, the peanut butter cups from Trader Joe's, and I never bought them, but he always had them, and I'd always be like, "Hey man, can I have one peanut butter cup?" And that always turned into 12. They're just dangerous.
Oh, those peanut butter. Oh yeah, same. And that's the thing though. It's live your life. Maybe you're gonna have one night where you I wouldn't call it a binge. You just overeat because you're enjoying and you're living your life. Go for it. I think there's too much pressure behind everything now. And that's why people are having all these
if
issues.
You're
I feel
going
people just
to
live their
the
life.
gym, if you're active, yeah, I'm with you. Eat what you want to eat. Just be cognizant that, maybe every night you shouldn't have greasy food, cheeseburger, fried food, whatever. But I look at it this way, I go to the gym so I can enjoy the meals that I want to eat. I'm not going to the gym to become this ripped, bodybuilder. But I know, but
you have a beautiful girlfriend, Parker. Some of us are still out there working. We got to keep a six-pack, man.
Well, Parker, going off of that, I mean, and again, if that's what works for you, it works for you. But I'll never talk about food in my classes. I personally it's like today, let's say I did an intense workout. Like if I want a cookie, I should have a cookie. Like tomorrow, if I don't work out, like I should still be able to have that cookie. So I never tell people to work out in like, oh, you burn this amount. Oh, now you deserve
it's transactional.
Dessert. Because that's what kind of leads to like you having, and it doesn't make you excited for your workouts kind of thing. So I love like, obviously advocating for a healthy lifestyle, you know, like I think of course you should eat healthy, and like I don't call it a cheat treat, you know, I call it like enjoy your life, live your life. Maybe don't have like an insane dessert every day, or don't have greasy fried foods every day, but kind of, you know, in moderation sporadically. But there's a lot of little hacks that you can put into your diet every day to eat healthy. And then there's also so many healthy desserts too. And then maybe that like a couple of times a week where you have something that's maybe not the healthiest. But again, like the second it becomes transactional of like, oh, I didn't go to the gym today, so now I can't eat this.
For me, I think
it's
the biggest thing is alcohol intake. Like if like I see massive differences. Like even on a weekly basis, if I'm consuming a you know, more wine or liquor than I had a previous week, like I see like like a lot of differences. Like talk back to COVID, like at the beginning of COVID, I was drinking wine so much. I was with my parents. Yeah, like what else,
bro? We drank every night.
Like we were all like the
hey,
world was ending.
We all
right, and I literally put on a shit ton of weight. I don't think because of the food. I think it was a lot in part because of the alcohol and not working out too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Em.
Oh, I was just gonna say about the alcohol. Like a lot of people are doing dry January right now, which go you. I mean, I'm not doing it, but go you. I'm a tequila girl over here, but I will say I don't. Like, and I like to set little boundaries for myself or little challenges for myself. Like whether it's, you know, even if it's dessert, like, okay, tonight I'm going to have like at least healthy desserts this week, or just something soft. It doesn't have to be like so strict, but I try to not drink during the week and then just like drink on the weekends when I go out. But I just try to not do it as much during the week, because then it just gets like too much and you don't feel good about yourself. Like I always go back to how do you feel?
My Whoop always tells me that my recovery scores are ass every single time I drink. Like I have one glass of wine, 29% recovery. I'm like, damn you, Whoop. How'd you know? It's very funny.
That's hilarious.
So I have a confession. Parker's going to make fun of me, and my mom's definitely listening, and she's going to be like, why are you telling people that, you weirdo? But the weirdest thing I ever ate religiously, when I was playing football in high school, and we had like 2-a-days where it was super hot. We'd work out twice. Like we had practice on lifts. I would come home, and maybe this is a Midwestern thing. I don't know. But you're so hot and you just worked out a ton, but you don't want like ice cream, but you need something to cool your internal core temperature. So I would eat, no, close, frozen corn. Just like straight up frozen corn.
Oh yeah, my God.
Like I was the original corn boy. Like
right?
I had a bag of frozen corn, and I
cooked
poured it in a
least,
cup,
right?
and I literally eat it with a spoon.
Frozen corn. I mean,
yeah, it was
cool.
cooked. Yeah, man, it's cooked, but like it's like savory. It was just like carbs. I needed energy, and yeah, so I'm sure that breaks a lot of rules. Go ahead.
You know what mine was? It was chocolate ice cream. Every time after my track meets, I was always like, oh my God, like I need something, I'm getting low. And even my brother always knew. He's like, I got you chocolate ice cream.
I was a baseball player.
I
ate a shit ton of sunflower seeds. That was always the thing. I mean, I was a catcher too, so you got to, you know, we're trying to keep, you know, the energy going. Sunflower seeds, I don't know if they actually did it. Typical baseball player, but...
That is so funny. That's hilarious.
So
Never
Emily,
got into that.
We want to ask you, we want to give you the platform to shout out what's next for you, what's next for Fit Food Junkies, how can people get involved with you? I mean, I know I, for one, am taking your Pilates class when Parker and I come to Austin, for sure.
You have to. You have to.
Kick our ass. It's going to be bad.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. There's so much. I would say what's next for me. this year, like, it's really just about living every single day, like, to its fullest. I got into a really, really bad car accident last year. Like, really, really bad. I had to go to the hospital. They had to transport me. Almost didn't make it. It was like, thank God. Like, it was like an angel. I mean, luckily, like, I was conscious and everything. During, like, I mean, I passed out for a second, but after the fact, like, I was okay. It just, anyway, when something like that happens and you go through this crazy experience, like near-death experience, it really changes your entire outlook on life. And that's why I've changed my whole outlook on the way I see fitness or nutrition and train my clients too. It's like, life is so short, you know? So I think this year, like, I just want to, like, really live life every single day. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no, you know? So I think people keep telling me that. I was always a yes person. I'm like, yes. And then I'm like, and I'm working on it. My day is like pack today. I'm working on it. But, like, I want to say yes to the things I really want to prioritize. Like this, for example, like, hell yes, I want to be here. But if it's, you know, if it's not some, like, AJ used to always be like, why are you going? Like, you literally don't want to go. And I'm like, I said I was going to go. So, you know, I think really prioritizing my time is a big thing that I want to focus on this year. And really growing my platform, growing my podcast, and really, like, finding kind of more of my why. I think we're all on a constant journey to find our whys, like, each and every day, you know? So I think that's really important, to just live life every day, find your why, find your mission, keep impacting more people. And yeah, I want to, keep growing with everything, keep teaching more. And I'm trying to think what else. There's so many things.
Parker and I just were talking about this earlier today, that we didn't really make New Year's resolutions for this year. And it felt weird for us because I think all three of us are, like, pretty type A and organized and, like, are elevators and want to do more. But I think for this year, we're all kind of focused on living and feelings and experiences and emotions, that I don't want to tie, like, oh, I want this many followers on our podcast. Like, I don't want to tie metrics to things. I want to do things that evoke the right emotions for me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I'm living 2023.
I love that. Similarly, I didn't make too specific goals either. One goal I did do, though, was to get more sleep, because we're lacking here. But I think in the past, I was always like, I'm going to be a morning person this year. I'm going to wake up at this time, do morning workouts every day. And, like, I've realized that's not sustainable for me. Maybe it is for someone else. So, like, I think a really cool secret for that is, if you feel like you can't stick to your New Year's resolution or goal every single day, like, spread it out. Like, for example, my Mondays, I teach at 6 a.m., which is hella early for me. Like, I'm a night owl. Okay. I'm half Mexican. Like, we are night owls. So I am a morning person on Mondays. Doesn't mean I want to be, but I become a morning person because I just train my mindset to be like, you're going to get up, you're going to do this. And, like, you can change your mindset to do anything. Tuesdays, I'm going to work out at night, you know, like, but I'm still getting my workout in. So I think like, every single day could be different, that can still be leading to that ultimate goal. And I'd say the biggest secret for success is planning your workouts ahead of time, and always doing something a little bit different. So, like, I have fun with it. Like, every night I plan, like, almost like it's a meeting on my calendar when I'm going to work out the next day. And I put it literally in my calendar. And then I also switch it up. Like, again, I'm extra, but just to give you a little example, like, Monday, I did Pilates. Tuesday, running. Wednesday, I do leg day. Thursday, I teach cycling. Friday, I'll have, like, either yoga or dance or something like that. And then the weekend, maybe I'll do a hike. What I'm saying, it's, like, all about moving your body and doing things that feel good to you. So try switching it up, of workouts you look forward to, and that kind of lead to your overarching goals. So I think if you're struggling with that New Year's resolution, try incorporating
That's awesome.
that.
I love it. I know we don't have you for much more time, Emily, and we have 2 more sections that we have to get through, because we do on every episode. So let's go into rapid fire. We got questions prepared. We're just going to throw them your way. Sometimes they become the opposite of rapid, and they end up being like an entire section themselves. But I know we're on a time crunch here. So first off, what is your favorite part about living in Austin, Texas?
Ooh.
Sure.
Can I say a couple? I love living. I know it's cheesy. I love living with my brother, with AJ. Like we're having a time. It's so much fun. And then also being close to the lake. We live really close to the Lady Bird Lake, and it's so beautiful. And I also say the people here are awesome, really genuine, authentic, like down to earth. The community here we have is really great.
I got to see AJ in Austin, and I'm sorry, Emily, I didn't know you then because it was
know,
great.
it's so sad.
And he brought me snacks from his office, and he's just the best. So next time, we all will get together. I cannot wait.
I love it.
All right, next rapid fire. What is your favorite healthy food?
Sweet potatoes. And I also love
Healthy.
dark chocolate.
Interesting.
Oh, I love
I like
dark
that.
chocolate. Sweet potato fries, sweet potato baked, sweet potato chips.
Anything sweet potato, like I'm in.
Whoa.
I've even made sweet potato brownies.
Whoa. Wow.
And they actually taste fire.
That I've never heard of, but that sounds kind of cool. All right, next one. You're doing the 6 a.m. Class. You're leading the charge. 45 minutes in, people are going through their stuff, but you're like, I got that one song. It's going to bring everyone to the end. We're going to crush it. What's the one song?
Okay, it's gonna be like any like throwback like emo kind of song.
Like Lips of an Angel emo,
Spotify.
or
Literally just
like more Blink 182 s.
No, like
Okay. All
like
right,
Check Yes Juliet, We the Kings, Mr. Brightside, like one of those that's just like throwback, get you in the zone,
nice.
like an MGK song, like one of those that everyone knows, but it's like, let's go,
Emily would love
Only
Godmother's
if.
Parker.
Only if.
Only was still open in DC.
I love
There's
that
like
stuff.
all that type of music bar, like basement bar.
The
in
middle,
DC.
like all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
It was so good. All right.
Songs that you feel like you're at a frat party at the end of class.
We've been there. We get it. Okay. Last rapid fire for you. Parker and I love to read. I read on the Kindle. Parker reads on books.
Well,
he tells me I'm
puts
not
the
really
books
reading,
on
I digress.
well, not anymore.
What
He used
book?
to. He reads his Kindle books, and then he has this guy on
used to.
Fiverr that he pays to create like a art painting of all of the books that he read, and it's his
painting, bro.
bookshelf
It's
that
cool.
he slaps on his wall. It's just a bunch of painted books, but he doesn't do it anymore. So he's grown up.
So mean. What's your favorite book or a book recommendation, Emily, that you have for us?
So I don't have a Kindle. I like to read, book that I can hold, but that's just me. I would say my favorite book ever is called Ask and It Is Given by Esther Hicks. And it's not the kind of book you can't put down. Like, you definitely can, but it's the kind of book you'll be reading and want to highlight it. And I'm not one of those like woo-woo yogi people, but I will say, like, after reading that, you're just like, whoa. Like, it's literally ask and it will be given to you. It's about how you can manifest anything you want in life. And literally, like, the energy you put out will come back to you in the world. Ask and It Is Given. It's a really, really cool book. And you get some really cool, just like, parts in that book that you're going to want to highlight, take a picture of, and just look
Sweet.
at every day because it's
Sounds
really
cool.
Sounds like The Secret, which I just reread. For
Yeah.
the second time.
I actually haven't read that yet. I need to read that.
It's much better book than Netflix documentary. So
Okay. I'm
don't
gonna
watch
see.
the Netflix show.
Yeah, typically the
I'm
case,
gonna
like
get it.
Too cheesy.
the Michael Pollan, How to Change Your Mind. Sam, they did that on Netflix. I'm like, the book was just so much more insightful. But okay, last section, Emily. This is an important section because everyone has answered this question. We didn't prep you. We ask every guest who comes, every elevator who joins Elevation Nation, what is the one phrase or motto that you live by? What is your mental motto?
I have a lot of mottos, but I'd say my favorite is saying you make time for what you want to make time for. And that could be anything in life. You know, people like you can make time for what you want to make time for. If there's a workout like today, craziest day, but I made time for what I wanted to make time for, and I went on a quick run. So I think that's super important about that. And also my slogan for Fit Food Junkies is addicted to health. And I use that because I used to be addicted to health in a negative way.
Cool.
And now I'm addicted to it in a really
I love
positive
that.
way.
You can always
So
make time for the
that's my
things
little
that you
slogan.
care about.
Both are beautiful. I love it.
Thank
That's
you.
what's so cool. Mental mottos are incredible. Like everybody has a different motto, phrase that gets them going. And that's what's cool about being an elevator. And Emily, you obviously are one. I'm so honored that you made time for us today and we were able to do this. I'm glad we were prioritized. I'm so honored to welcome you to the Elevation Nation family. And this has just been so special. Like, again, I felt like we already knew you. So this was great.
I know. Well, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I feel elevated. You guys are amazing. And I really so honored to be here. I'm so happy to be here.
I love it. Elevation Nation. Until next week. Peace.
I love it.
Parker, you brought up how to change your